Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to the day two of webinar series. Today we'll be talking about accessibility from development perspective. So, I am Udara Bandara, Associate Technical Lead at Creative Software. So, basically, I have 6 years of experience building accessible web applications. So, this is the agenda for today. Uh, So we will be having a quick recap what we have covered in the last session. So if you were not there, no worries. You can still follow along, and you can watch the video later. So next we will be talking about key area for developers. Here we will be highlighting practical areas to focus during the development, and then we will be moving to how to apply VCAP principles in code. So this will be more like a demonstration session. We'll walk into some real examples and see how we can apply VCAP principles directly in the code. Finally, we will be looking at how to make accessibility a natural part of your everyday development. So it is not just afterthought, it should be part of your everyday development process. So finally, we'll be talking about that. Those are the things what we are covering today. And going into next slide, this is the VCAC principles. We have what we have covered in the last session. So we have done a full session about VCAC principles and VCAC laws in last session. So I will just give a brief introduction or brief recap regarding those things. So first, what is VCAC? So VCAC means Web Accessibility Guidelines that defined by W3C, and this aims making web content accessible for all, including people with disabilities. So why does it matter? First, it is a ethical responsibility to include every person to the web content, and everyone deserves a equal right to use those digital content. So it is our ethical responsibility. Then it is a legal obligation. So to avoid lawsuit and ensure the compliance with laws like ADA, Section 508, we should make our content accessible. Finally, we can gain a business advantage as well by reaching wider audience, including people with disabilities. So then we move to the basic VCAP principles, what are defined in VCAP Web Accessibility Guidelines: perceivable, operable, understandable, and robust. What is perceivable? The content must be presentable in a way that users can perceive. And operable means users must be able to interact with the content. Understandable. Understandable means content must be easily understand by understanding for users even with disabilities. So robust means content must work with current and future assistive technologies. Those are the basic VCAP principles, and we'll see how we can apply those in code later. But just keep remember, those are the basic VCAP principles. Now we will be discussing on key areas for developers. These are the areas you should mainly focus on building web accessible applications. Whether you use HTML, whether you use plain JavaScript, maybe Angular, maybe React, or maybe Vue. Despite of the framework, there are some fundamental practices that you can follow. Those are the things that make or break the accessibility. First thing is semantic HTML. So you should always use the correct HTML element for their intended purpose. For example, buttons for clickable actions, not div, not span, it is button. And then use nav for navigation sections, headers and footers for page structures, and so on. This allows screen readers to and assistive technologies to understand your content properly without needing an extra configuration. Screen reader is a software that translate what is displayed on the computer into speech or braille, like make it accessible to people who are blind or having low vision. So we will be having a full session, some demonstration about screen reader in the next session. But just remember it as a software that translate what is displayed on the computer to speech. It read loud the text, headings, forms, and other elements that are allowing users to navigate and interact. So if elements are poorly labeled or maybe misused, for example, like using div instead of button, the screen readers might say clickable, unknown. That confuses the user, right? So next, ARIA. So that is very powerful tool, but it is very dangerous if you misused. ARIA allow you to define roles, status, maybe properties, like telling assistive technology, this is a button by making role button. But do not use ARIA when native HTML already does the job. That's the first rule of ARIA. Uh, yeah, using those area, misusing those area can break accessibility instead of improving it. And it is very important to have keyboard accessibility as well. So every interactive element should be able to able to focus or able to use just with the keyboard without mouse. So next, it is always we should always ensure the sufficient contrast between text and background. This helps users with low vision or maybe colorblind to read the content easily. And responsive design, you need to ensure that our layout work well across different screen sizes, orientations, and also make sure that your site works to up to 200% zoom level. And when you zoom it up to 200% zoom level, content must not lose or functionality should remain same. And then moving to media accessibility, multimedia content never should never exclude users. So people should be able to use multimedia content even with the even with some disabilities or maybe impairments. So if you use captions or transcription, this support users who are deaf or hard of hearing, even people in noisy environment, and also some people prefer reading over listening, so it supports them as well. Yeah, so going to forms are one of most common accessibility failure point, so you need to give more attention to this. uh, you need to use label that matching with corresponding input, and also ensure error messages are descriptive and also specific. For example, instead of just saying invalid input, say it like email must include at symbol. Likewise, it should be specific. And finally, dev testing and validation. So accessibility should not be an afterthought. So it should be a part of your development workflow. So for every component, for every time, you should uh, test whether those components are accessible. So we can use automated tools like Axe, Lighthouse, or Wave. And also we need to perform manual testing with screen readers and keyboard. This manual test often reveal what automation cannot. So we need to have both tests. Yeah, uh, these are just basics, but yeah, they are critical. So uh, if you are already following these things, you are already in the path building a more inclusive web experience. So you need to follow those things. Now let's move on to how to apply VCAC principles in development. This is more like a demo session, so I need to switch to the browser and the editor. So let me switch. Yeah. Yeah, there's a question. Is automated testing mandatory for developers? Expect QA. So yeah, for it is very important to have testing in while development. So in developer, it is important to do developer testing for each component. So you can use tools like XO, XO, whatever the tools to uh, make it for testing, like automation testing. It is very important to test before passing it to the QA, because at that time you can find errors and fix them before handing over it to for testing. Yeah. So I hope I give you enough answer. Okay. So moving to the website. Uh, this is just a website I have created for the demonstration. So let me full screen it. Uh, okay. So this website I have created. So at first glance, it might look fine, but I have done few intentional WCAG related accessibility issues here. The idea is that we can walk through them and fix them during the session, and so you can see how to apply those WCAG principles in real world example. So Uh, before moving to the code, I should show something in developer tools. So first I will go to developer tools by inspect, and here we can see this button. So this button help to switch to the accessibility tree view. If you cannot see this button, you can enable it using accessibility tab. You can go to accessibility tab by pressing Control Shift P and then type show accessibility. In the accessibility tab, there's a checkbox over here which enable this button. So you can enable it using this checkbox. When you press this button, it will switch to the accessibility tree view. And this is how our content are and our elements are organized in the web page. And you can go through each element and see how they are organized, whether they are organized properly. Uh, and also, we need to open rendering tab for testing. I will show it now show it as well. So to open rendering tab, again you must press Control Shift P and type show rendering. So here is the rendering tab. I will keep it open and I will come back to those things later. But uh, those help to find the issues related to VCAG. So now let's explore how VCAG principles apply practically. So we'll walk through perceivable, operable, understandable, and robust, and see how we can make our site better for everyone. First thing is perceivable. This means content must be presented in a way that user can perceive. So for that, we can do several things. First thing is text alternatives. We need to provide text alternatives for non-text elements like input, images, videos, audios, likewise. For input, we should always use clear labels with label tag. I will move into the code now. Let's make it aside. Okay. Here in our site, there's one input here. It over that there's a text saying that enter your email and subscribe to our newsletter. If you go to the code, to the email section. Here, this text is just a paragraph, not a label. It is not associated with input. So, to comply with accessibility, we should always we should always associate with inputs. So, for that, I will add the label here. Label is for email. The ID of the input is email. So I type it as email, and then I will give a meaningful text here. So it will be like email address. If I save it, now it will look like this. So we can do the styling later, but I'm not going to do that here. But if we need, we can do the styling later. And other thing is sometimes the design strongly suggests not to use labels, just use plain input box. In such a scenario, you can use area label for the input. For example, we can use like that. This, let me. We can use like this, but it is always good to use labels, and it is always recommended to use labels, but in a special scenario, you can use like this. Apart from that, sometimes the idea of the input is mentioned somewhere else. In such a scenario, you can use area labeled by and provide the ID of the label. So here I will use this text. So ID of the element is email description. So if I go to the accessibility tab now, you can see it is associated with the description here. So that's how labels can be used in inputs. So by using correct labels, it is important. We can easily navigate, and also screen readers can read it properly without any extra configurations. So next, moving to the images. When you use images in our site, we should always include a descriptive alt text, unless that image is purely a decoration. So it is helpful to think it like this. Yeah, how would you describe an image to someone over the phone who cannot see the image? So that kind of description you want to give to your image as a alt text. So in our website, I have included just two images to demonstrate. So these two images, if I go to the code, those are the alt text is empty here. So we need to provide a meaningful alt text. For first thing, let's say maybe audience listening to a speaker at a conference. Type it like that. Listening to a speaker maybe in a conference. Yeah, likewise, we can give meaningful text. And for second image, let's say maybe crowd watching a live outdoor event, crowd, or maybe enjoying whatever, a live outdoor event. You can give whatever the text, but it should describe the meaning or describe the image. Then moving into video content. So here we don't have a video in our site, but when you use video content, we want to make sure that is accessible for everyone. That means including few key things. First thing is captions. So users who are deaf or hard of hearing cannot hear the audio. So we need to have captions so they can follow along. And next, we can add text alternatives. This helps users to understand what is in the video. So it also helps people who prefer reading as well. Then for critical and essential things like educational related or government related things, consider adding sign language as well. So the people who cannot hear can properly follow along with them. These steps ensure that video isn't just visible, but it is perceivable for wider audience, not just people who can hear. What about CAPTCHA? So the little tests that prove that you are human, not a robot. Okay, so we need to describe the purpose of the CAPTCHA. Uh, we should offer both visual indication, both image-based and audio capture. So users can, with visual impairments, can still access the content. And we should always minimize the cognitive load. This is not a IQ test. This is not a like mathematical exam. We should always use minimum cognitive load here. We only need to um, find whether it is a robot or human. Yeah. So then moving into decorations. Things like backgrounds, icons that does not convey meaning or design only visuals. In that case, screen reader should not read those things because that will not add the useful content to the user. How can we handle them? Yeah, we can simply use either area hidden true or empty alt text. In our site, maybe let's say if this is just image, we can use like this area hidden true. So now this will omit the this will be omitted by screen readers. That part uh, will not read by those screen readers. So if again if you use empty alt text, that is also omitted in screen readers. So if image conveys meaning, that's why it is important to have alt text. Then to make your site perceivable, you need to use semantic HTML as well. So you need to use H1O, H2O header tags for headings. You need to use proper landmarks. You need to use proper links. Likewise, you need to use proper semantic HTML elements. In our site, I have intentionally make one heading a div, but it's for just visualize, it will look like the same as other headings. If we move into this heading, it is just a div, not a heading. So we need to make sure that those headings are native heading elements. So if we move into this one, why choose this one? We should make that a heading. So here we have H3. So we need to use H2 here to maintain the logical order. It will use H2 and it will be a heading, but from the styling, it will look like same. There's another question. So do we need to add all text, description, captions to images because WordPress provide that field to fill? All text and all text description and caption to images. Yeah, you should add all text to images and description. Those things make not only accessible but also SEO friendly. If you have those all text, maybe descriptions, it will support SEO and also it will support accessibility. So for better accessibility, you should use them as well. Uh, moving to next thing, uh, that if you're using links, they should have proper meaning instead of just click here. In our site, we have a link here, but the link part is only this one. If we move into the that link using tab, it will highlight automatically here. And if we use screen readers, it will just read as here. So we should make it more meaningful. For example, let's go into that thing. We can make this whole thing a link like this. Okay, so if we if we use this way, screen readers will automatically read all the text. And for instead of that, you can also use descriptive text for the only the only the link area. But uh, the main goal here is making links making the links meaningful. So even using screen readers, it will read meaningfully. So moving to next, area attribute should use only necessary. We should not use area attribute when HTML do the job. So it is very important factor that we should only use area labels, area roles if it is necessary. If we cannot do the job with basic HTML elements. Another really important point is we should not only rely on things like color, shape, size, or sound to convey meaning, because some people cannot see color, some people cannot hear the sound. For example, if we say fields in the red are required. Yeah, another question. So if there are isolated link, just one is there any point of using semantic HTML like now? Um, so if there are isolated link, is there point of using semantic HTML like now? For links, you should use A, the tag A, and now is for navigation. So if this is like that, so let me show it over here. If you have a navigation bar with link, what the which one? You should use like this. So uh, navigation for navigation area and links like this. So it is very important to follow the semantic HTML elements. So we were in the area where we should not rely sole on sensory characters like colors, shape, size, and everything. So if we set all required field are red, that does not help someone who is colorblind. So instead, we should pair visual indicators with text. You could say like required field are marked with an asterisk and shown in red, so that even people with the colorblind can understand that there's is asterisk, so that these fields are required. And also we need to cater color related issues like color contrast, color blindness as well. So to ensure color contrast, uh, in VCAG standards, it suggests some values. For example, in VCAG, to comply with VCAG AA, regular text should have at least 4.5 to 1 contrast ratio. For large text, it should be like 3 to 1. So if we move back to our side, Here, I have intentionally used a color that is not aligned with contrast, proper contrast. If I move into the inspect element, so in the style, you can see that color. If you click this one, it will automatically open a pop-up like this. Here, it is saying the contrast ratio is 2.33. If we expand this, it will show that it is not compatible with double A. It is not compatible with triple A as well. These lines suggest the compatibility level. So if we move the color to below this line, it will compatible with both double A and triple A. If color is in here, it will only compatible with double A level. You can follow this color picker and choose a color with collaborative with designers if you want. So this is very helpful when you are selecting colors with proper color contrast. And secondly, we can we can emulate the color vision related issues as well, like color blindness. So for that, we need to move to the rendering tab. That's what I opened earlier using Control Shift P and then show rendering. So if we move into the rendering tab, there are several settings you can emulate. I will only use this one, emulate vision deficiencies. You can use other things as well. Here, if I move into if I open this drop down, there are several settings. For blurred vision users, our site will look like this. And then if we move to the reduce contrast, if we look, it will look like this. If you cannot see the red, our site will look like this. And if you cannot see green, it will be like this. So we need to go through each of everything and find whether the site is accessible for all the users. So it is we should not exclude any user. We should include them, all of them. So it is very important to use colors that supports those users. So this test give a visual way to test how accessible your color choices are. Uh, then your site should also work with 200% zoom level, as I said earlier. In our site, I have made it compatible with that. So first I will remove the emulation, no emulation, and if I zoom in and press zoom it to 200%, our site will look like this, and it does not break any functionality. It does not remove any content. It will show like this, and everything is accessible. If your site cannot, if you cannot access anything from the site, you need to make it accessible using media queries, flexboxes, or whatever. From CSS or from other coding practices, you need to make that site accessible for uh, even for 200% zoom level. Moving to next thing, to make our site perceivable for every users. Some users get motion sickness or maybe discomfort during animations. So their system might request reduce motion. If I move to the rendering tab again, I will make it like this. So here we have a setting, emulate CSS media feature, prefers reduce motion. We can emulate prefers reduce motion, reduce. So if we choose this option, then we should in our side we should respect their need. For that, we can use media queries like media preferred reduce motion, reduce, and we can turn off all animations and write whatever the CSS to remove those animations in your site. So they do not prefer animations. They want to use the site without animations. So we should respect them. Yeah. Apart from that, sometimes your content update content on the page update dynamically. For example, when you submit a form, an error pop-ups, and if you submit a form, a toast with success message pop-up. Those things should be should be those messages should be conveyed to the users with users that are using screen reader as well. So to tell them, we need to use ARIA Live. That helps to announce dynamic changes automatically without needing to refocus that element. For example, if in our site we have, if I type email here, let's save the uh, and the pop-ups like this should covered with attribute with area live. So if I move to the pop-up and find that pop-up area show and those, you can like write like this. We have three options here. Area live off means we do not have any area live thing or that does not read by any screen reader. So that means that's same as we don't use area live label. So area live assertive means it will uh, quickly stop what is reading and just read the read this error messages. But in most cases, it is using area live polite is enough. So that will wait until a chance comment. It will read the content in the in this div wrap. So that's how we can use area live regions. So it will automatically read the content once it is uploaded. And finally, to make our site perceivable, uh, we should test our site with sound off. So your site should access without any sound because the people who cannot hear sound, they can't hear. So they should be able to handle the site. So most of the site does not use sound to convey messages, but just check it and verify that your site is accessible for those people as well. Now let's move on to second VCAP principle, which is operable. This means your site should. This means user should be able to interact with site using keyboard or other assistive technology, not just mouse. So you can go through your site using tab, shift tab, enter and space and find whether you can access all the elements. You should go through entire page, entire every page and every component and every widget whether you should find whether you can access those things. If you cannot complete the task without mouse, that means your site is not accessible. You have to make that site accessible to use the keyboard as well. Next thing is focus management. When someone taps to their height, they should always see where they are. So in our site, if I tap from here, now I'm in this home button, then I'm in event button, and I am in service, I'm in about, I'm in contact. Likewise, we can see where we are. So we need to make sure that that position or the place the users are, we should convey that message to users. For that, we can use focus visible styling. For example, let's say we have a button like with CSS class submit button, maybe, and we have some background color, whatever, and color, right? We can add We can add the outline to this button once we once it show when we are focused like this. Let's say so. Maybe we can add offset as well, but the thing is like this way add the uh, visual outline when we uh, when we move to the that button using tab. If you use an only focus, then it will show even you press the mouse as well. But if you use focus visible, it is only visible for tab users. Then it is important to handle tab index as well. You can use tab index to make element focusable. For example, if you have a div, let's say you have a drop down custom custom drop down like this, elements inside it, whatever. You need to make sure that this is focusable. So for that we can use tab index 0 to make it focusable using keyboard. In some cases, you need to make sure that some elements are focusable not using keyboard but using script. For example, if we open a modal, focus should be moved to the model instantly instead of tabbing. So in such cases, we can use tab index -1. -1. So that means this element is focused only using JavaScript, not using tab. We cannot tab focus into this element. Yeah, when you have redundant content, for example, every page has these navigation links. In such cases, you can use skip content that help users to jump to main content easily. For example, in our site, if I move focus here, it shows like skip to main content. This kind, you may have seen this in several sites. So skip to the main content. So if there are redundant content, this help to move to the content easily, and uh, it is very easy for keyboard users. When it comes to modals, managing focus is a very important thing. When modal open, you need to tap focus inside it, and users should not be able to tap into the content behind the model. Further, when modal close, you need to return focus back to the element that modal triggers. So this makes a very predictable and smooth workflow for users who are using the website with keyboard. And one other important thing is you should not trap focus inside custom component if it is not necessary. You should always give user a clear way to move in and out. For example, if you open a modal, you should give a clear way to close that modal. So we should not trap the focus inside those things unnecessarily. These small things are really helpful who people with people who are using keyboard and screen readers to navigate to a site easily and make it operable for them. And finally, we should give enough time for user actions, and maybe your site has a time limit for maybe forms auto submission or logout duty inactivity. In such cases, users should be able to turn off the timer or adjust it, or maybe extend the time. In such way, users with mobility or cognitive challenges, they don't feel rushed. Moving to next VCAC principle, understandable. This is simply means information in the site, information in the website, and the content uh, presented in a way that easy to understand, and also the way the interface work should be easy to understand. To make those to comply with understandability, we can have a language property for the website. We can define language here. Since our site is in on English, we can use en. If your site is on a different language, you can use that language. So this helps screen reader to pronounce the content correctly and choose right language model. Then we need to use plain and simple language so everyone can understand it. When you're using abbreviations, for example, WHO kind of thing, you should clearly define its meaning. For example, you can use maybe we have a heading WHO to use mask whatever. We can wrap it in using this tag and add the title. Well, so if we use this way, screen readers can clearly understand what's the meaning of WHO, and if you hover it, it will show a pop-up as well. And in this, the idea is understandable for every user. Another key part of making the interface's understandability is predictability. So your site should not trigger unexpected content or changes on focus or maybe hover. If you have a critical pop-up that comes when your focus input maybe, it will confuse people who are using assertive technologies, and also uh, it will miss the users who are quickly jumping through those forms. And we need to keep navigation consistent across pages as well. So we need to make sure that content is similar and consistent across the pages. And other important thing is user input assistant. For user, for example, if you have a form, I have said this earlier as well, you should have proper error messages. So someone enters something incorrectly, tell them what went wrong, where it went wrong, and exactly how to fix that. Don't just say invalid input. Sometimes it is very important to provide helpful instructions and suggestions as well. For example, if you have phone number area, that for that area you must enter the country code. Then let users know about them before submitting the form. These practices help everyone, especially users with cognitive disabilities, maybe old users, and those who are using screen readers to understand our content easily. The final principle in VCAG is robust. This means our content must be worked with current and future technologies, including screen readers, assistive tools. For that, uh, you have to use semantic elements and follow semantic HTML structure for your site, and uh, follow correct heading level, ensure the compatibility with the screen readers and assistive technologies. You should test your site with several screen readers, several browsers, several orientations. Likewise, you should try the site with those different technologies and make sure our site is accessible and our site is compatible with them as well. And then we should use ARIA best practices to make our site robust. Uh, you should prefer native HTML. Don't override native semantics. Like we don't say the button role link. that confuse users, and that is unnecessary. And finally, remember that ARIA is not a styling tool. It is for semantic. Use CSS for styling. Don't use uh, H2 for just for making the text bigger than H3. It is please use CSS for that. HTML these tags are for uh, semantics. And you should always sync the area status with UI. For example, if a drop down open, make sure that area expanded true match the user what we say for what users see. For example, if our drop down is open, we can use area expanded true, or false if it is false, using uh, scripts. So finally, we need to test with different accessible technologies, and by making your site robust, it is prepared for not only today but also whatever comes in the future as well. Let's move back to the presentation again. Let me move back. So next, we will be moving to integrating accessibility into development workflow. So it is very important to make this a part of your everyday development process. So now you know how to achieve accessibility. Now we need to make sure that it is a part of our everyday development process. So we should plan accessibility during the design. So earlier we consider the accessibility, it is easier to implement. So collaborating with designers, discuss the requirement during the design phase as itself. So, and using proper contrast, font sizes likewise. This collaborative effort reduce the need for rework later, and ensure that design handoff are already accessible aware. And we should always use accessible color palettes and wireframes and prototypes. We should review the logical content order and easy navigation path. If we catch some accessibility issues here in this stage, it is much easier and cheaper to fix them than after the development begins. And also add placeholder and accessibility content into design mockups or annotations. This set and clear expectations early, which makes sure that these placeholders are not forgotten in the final product. So by planning accessibility in design, we set a strong foundation for entire development process. Then we move to building accessibility in mind. So now we design phase, we have considered the accessibility. Now we should build our content, build our website with accessibility in mind. Now we know we should use semantic HTML, and keyboard navigation should be there. Dynamic content should be read. So we should build our website or our application with those things in mind. Next, we should create the accessibility checklist. This is a practical way to ensure accessibility isn't missed during the development. For example, we can have a checklist like are all images labeled with meaningful alt text? Is the color contrast adequate for text and UI component likewise? So this can be a simple document or maybe shared list or even part of your ticketing system. The goal is here. The goal of the goal here is that consistency. If every feature or component goes through the same accessibility checker, nothing get overlooked, right? Yeah. Moving to next, code reviews with accessibility in mind. So we should make the accessibility test at part of your code review, like quality or like security. You need to make it part of code review. So if you find even a small thing that can catch major gaps in accessibility. and providing and making and assigning team members as accessibility advocates from the team help to understand and help to guide you through the accessibility when you are developing or applications. So these people do not have to be expert, but they should be passionate about inclusive design and willing to help others as well. So their role can include sharing tips with and resources with the team, or participate in design and development discussions representing accessibility need, help helping reviewing features, whether it is WCAG compliant, likewise. And finally, we should maintain a guideline and documentation. Just like we maintain coding standard, we should have clear accessibility development guideline. So when a new member come, now it is easy to follow the practices we are already following, and we can start from there. So those are some highlights on integrating accessibility in development workflow. This is not just a one-time task. It is about continuously including it in your development culture from design, testing, and beyond. Coming up in the next session, we'll explore VCAC in more depth, and it will be helpful for both developers and QA teams to ensure the accessibility is not just built, it is verified. So participate that as well. And those are things what I have to bring for you today. If you have any questions, you can raise. Now, there's one question. To stand out from competition, modern design trends like scrolling, effort, content. So yeah, uh, we need to follow more modern design trends. We need to follow modern designs, modern layouts. But the important thing is we should make them inclusive for all users. That's the main base what we should do, because uh, we should not make anyone left behind. We have to follow even if you cannot do it with basic semantic HTML element, you can develop custom component with ARIA. There are several area attributes if you check, like ARIA label, ARIA role, likewise. So you can follow those ARIA things and make custom components or make custom elements with those things. But the main focus should be making people include. So what I mean, the point here is, even if we design the best website, even we design a website with even we design an application with modern features, modern design, everything, but if someone cannot access it, then then the audience is limited. So we need to include all of them. We need to make sure that everyone is in our design. So I think that's it for the moment. So we can wrap up now. So finally, accessibility is not about perfection. So it is a process. So every small improvement you make in the development makes web accessible for user, for maybe someone who sees differently, someone who hears differently, someone who moves differently. So thank you very much for your participation. Together we can build a better web for everyone. Thank you very much.